Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Kurtland Farm's virtual chat for this year. I'm Emily with the Discover Dairy program, and we are so excited that you're joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Paige and, of course, our adorable calves, Matilda, Milkshake, and Milky Way. So first, to start it off, I wanted to just say a quick thank you. This live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program, and more than 43,000 teachers and 1.7 million students have joined us this year for the free program, thanks to our generous supporters like the American Dairy Association Northeast and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. If you'd like to join next year, good news, registration and re-enrollment will be opening on May 1st. So you can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt to log in and re-enroll starting May 1st. So without further ado, today's event is live and the chat has been flowing. It's open. There's a lot of people joining. We thank you guys so much for getting on this afternoon. We're excited to hear your questions, and Farmer Paige is happy to answer them. Before we go to Farmer Paige, I want to give a few shout outs and see who we have joining us today. So let's take a look. Looks like we have Mrs. Walsh's third grade class. Hello, welcome. We have Miss Hoffman's fourth grade class from Pennsylvania. Thank you guys for joining. Mrs. Hovart's class. Oh, you're excited to meet Milky Way. Me too. Miss Jamie's second grade class is excited about Matilda. There's so many of you. Miss Thompson from third grade. And let's see one more. Mrs. Ludman's class, fifth grade. Mrs. Bunning. Thank you guys so much. We're so excited to have all of you. And keep the chat going. Throw in your questions as you have them. So without further ado, to make the most of our time, I want to introduce you to Farmer Paige. So Farmer Paige, how are you doing today?
Hi, Emily. I am doing well. Thanks for having us. I'm here in our calf barn. A little bit about our farm. We have about 300 acres that we farm. We milk about 230 cows in our robots, and another about 60 in our tie stall barn. And then we raise about 30 calves, or I'd say about at a time.
Awesome. So it looks like, well, I guess just for some quick background on you, how did you get involved in your role on Kurtland Farms?
I actually started here as an intern, and then I just kind of stayed. They hired me. I'm now the herd manager, so I take care of all the cows, all the calves, and manage the calf feeders as well.
Awesome. So it all started from an internship. That's exciting.
Yep.
What does a typical day look like for you on the farm?
I usually start around 5:30 in the morning. I come in, I do my robot chores. That involves treating some of the sick cows, making sure everyone's healthy. Like I said, we have robots, so it's a lot of looking at a computer and then going out and finding cows. And then I do what we call our midday shift, kind of the same thing again. And then that's also where we do our extra chores, stuff that needs done around the farm, bedding up hutches,
Mhm.
vaccinations, stuff like that. And then we have our PM shift, which again, checking late cows. It's basically the same thing we do in the morning. And then we also have a night check shift at 8 p.m. when we come out and just make sure everything's good for the night so we can all go to bed and not have to deal with any issues, hopefully.
So it sounds like you're busy taking really good care of them and making sure they're happy, comfortable. What's your favorite part about working with the calves every day?
I think my favorite part would be just seeing how well everyone's doing, watching them thrive. Obviously, if we have an issue, we'll find it and take care of it, and then watching them get better and just live out their best lives over here at the farm.
That's awesome. Well, I can see they're behind you, and I'm sure everyone's really excited to see their calves. So do you want to switch and maybe go through one by one and give us some updates on the girls?
All right, so I got them three right here. We have them all on halters so I can bring them over. The first one here is Milkshake.
So Milkshake, it looks like at her last update was maybe around 376 pounds. So how big is she now?
I actually just weighed them. Milkshake is 444 pounds.
Wow, so she's gotten really big.
Yeah, and she's 46 inches tall, so she didn't grow height-wise too much, but she filled out there.
Oh, look at her. What are they eating now?
They so temporarily They are over in this barn. So their feed's a little different, but they are eating hay. They have hay all day long, anytime they want. And then they also get a grain that they get fed twice a day at the morning and the evening shift.
Okay, and how many, it looks like Megan is asking how many pounds of food does Milkshake eat in a day now that since you're on Milkshake right now?
Ooh, that's a good question. They all get fed the same amount. I actually have a bucket that is labeled so our calf feeders know based on pounds. I think it's 6 pounds of feeding. So I'd say about 12 pounds of grain a day. I could be wrong
Wow.
on that.
No, that's a great estimate. Is there
Yeah.
any anything they like to do to play? Someone else was asking that.
They do. They love to run around. They like to play with each other. As you can see, we do have them on halters. When we take them outside with the halters, they love running around, and being free, kind of. Hi.
And what about socializing and being around people? I mean, they seem really excited that you're there right now. Do they like to be around people?
They do. Being that they are the three famous ones, they get a lot of people coming to visit them. We've done some school visits, and they are very used to the people.
Sounds good. What do you want to show us Milky Way and Matilda too for those on
Yep.
here?
Okay. So this one over here, this is Milky Way. She is the biggest of the three. She is about 50 inches tall, and I think she was about 530 pounds, actually. She's a good bit bigger, and she's actually the youngest.
Wow. Yeah, I was gonna say because she was 495 at her last update, so that's a lot of growth.
Yes, yes. They
Someone's
definitely grew a
asking
good bit.
about how long until they start to get bigger, and eventually join the milking herd. How long until that happens?
So they usually join our milking herd around 2 years old. We breed them around a year, and then they have a 9 month gestation, so they calve in around 2 years then. And that's when they start making milk and join our robot herd.
Very exciting. We see Selah in the background. She's one of the
Yep.
kids on Kurtland Farm. Say hi,
You
Selah.
want her? Say hi, Lasela.
Is that Matilda?
So this is Matilda here. She is around 46 inches tall as well, and she's about 520 pounds.
Wow, so
Um,
she definitely grew a lot too.
yes. Yep. She's pretty round.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to sift through the questions. We have a lot of them coming in. One asked, do the cows moo yet? Are they mooing?
They do moo. We actually had a tour yesterday, and everyone was getting a kick out of them. They were being very vocal. So I can't really make them do it, but if we might catch it.
Yeah. And someone's asking, do they all get along? So the three of them, I mean, what's their housing like right now? Do they,
So currently they are in a pen, just the three of them together for today's purpose. They do usually live in what we call our yearling barn at this point, which they're in groups of probably about 10 calves at that point. So they are socialized.
well, that
Hi.
we'll keep letting you show us these girls and they giving them some attention while we go through the rest of the questions. Someone
All right.
was really interested in what you said about the robot herd. So can you tell us a little bit about
Yes.
what that is at Kirtland Farms?
So we actually have 4 robotic milkers. They are Lely astronauts is what they're called. Each robot is suspected to milk around 60 to 70 cows. And basically the cows just milk all day long whenever they want. My job is to go and find any cows that don't milk themselves. But otherwise they kind of just do their thing for the most part.
So they kind of know when it's their time to milk and they head on in there. That's really cool
Yep.
and really good use of technology too.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Someone else was asking how many cows there are on Kirtland Farms.
We have between 600 and 700 total. Like I said, we milk about 230 in the robots and then about another 60 at the tie stall barn as well.
Okay. And Miss Devore wanted to know how long it takes for the robots to milk the cow, which is a great question about how long does it take.
Yep. So our cows average, I think it's about 6 to 7 minutes on the robots. About a minute and a half of that would be the robot prepping the cow for milking, and then the remaining is how long the cow actually takes to milk.
Okay, very cool. And since we're kind of talking about the calf area right here, how many live in the pen when they're at the calf age? About how
So
many?
in this barn, we have about 5 pens, and there's usually about 8 to 10 in these pens. And they're sorted by age. So we start at the other end of our barn with our wean calves. They come down here from their hutches, and in that pen, that's where they get weaned off of their milk. And then as they work their way to the other end of the barn as they get older, they get grain in all the pens, and then they start getting introduced to hay as well as they get older.
Okay. Um, and then do these girls, Cat Christopher is asking, how long do they sleep for in a normal day? Do they sleep for long periods of time?
I'd say they take a lot of naps. I'm not sure how exactly long they sleep, but usually, I mean, looking out the barn now, there's a good bit of them napping even though we're in here. Um, so yeah,
And
if they're not eating, they're usually just laying down or playing.
and what's that bedding that's kind of in, how do they get nice and comfy when they go to sleep? What is the bedding like?
So our bedding is actually dried manure solids. So in the robot barn, whenever the cows use the bathroom, it all gets collected down into a grate, and then it runs through what we call our separator, and that takes all the liquid manure and puts it up into our lagoon, and then the dried manure gets put into a pile, and that's what we use to bed.
Very cool. So that it's kind of like a full circle sustainability type of thing. That's really
Yep.
interesting. Um, Victorian and a few other people are asking about what cows eat, and they're mentioning things like oranges or even chocolate and stuff that goes into feed that cows eat. So, can you tell us a little bit about what goes into the feed that cows eat?
So our cows get fed a diet that consists of corn silage, triticale rye, some soybean meal, and some other like minerals and nutrients. We also, so like the oranges and stuff like that, our waste product that we use would be brewer's grain. So it's the leftover from the making of beer. We have tried to feed these guys specifically some apples, and then we had tried feeding Milkshake a milkshake. That didn't go over too well. Um, but they do like other fruits and stuff as well.
So, Milkshake wasn't a fan of apples. Good to know.
No.
I guess every calf has their favorite foods, just like we do. So how we have a lot of great questions still coming in. Darcy wants to know how you guys came up with their names, or how do you come up with names when the calves are born?
So most of our calves we just kind of refer to by their number. Like I said, we have about 600 to 700 animals on the farm. That would be a lot of names to remember. But these guys, they got fun names. I tried to find something that was based off of, like milk, obviously the Mutilda, so like a moo.
Uh-huh. Well, and speaking of those ear tags, can you tell us a little bit about what they are, the yellow tags on the ear with their number?
Yeah, so each cow gets their own individual number. That's how we identify them in the herd. Anytime that we refer to a cow, that's typically how we refer to it. So that way, if I have an issue with one and I need to talk to someone else about her, we kind of just reference that number because everyone knows it. It's right there on the calf and it doesn't go anywhere. It's assigned to her.
Awesome. And we get a nice, good shot of it right now.
Oh, yeah. She's in
Um,
there chewing down.
well, and Kendra asked a great question. What do you do if a cow or one of these calves gets sick?
So if they get sick, I treat them according to what they're showing signs of. I'll work with our vet and see what they recommend. We keep some antibiotics and stuff on hand on farm. So if I do see something and I know what to do with it, I can go ahead and treat them. If it's something a little questionable, I can always reach out to the vet and he can come and look at them, or we can kind of discuss it over the phone and come up with the best option to treat them with.
That's great. So, and I know you mentioned earlier, but I think that's a big part of your job, right?
Yes. Yep. That's about
Yeah.
what I do every day.
Someone's asking, Bridget, is Matilda always this feisty?
Yes. Mutilda is definitely the most feistiest of them. Milky Way is the most outgoing. She loves to run. Whoever has her most of the pictures that you guys got of her, she was probably mid-run because she doesn't stop. And then Milkshake, she's the shyer one of the three, that's for sure.
That's her back there, right?
Yep.
She's definitely showing us that. She's adorable though. Some of quite a few people are asking, how do you keep them clean?
Um, so we like to keep the bedding that they lay in every day. This barn gets cleaned out about twice a week. So it doesn't really have the chance to get very dirty. Everyone in here is pretty clean. That's actually one question that we get a lot is how they stay clean, and it's just maintenance and management of the bedding that they're in, really.
Yeah, that's great. Does Milky Way have any siblings, or what about all of them, I guess? Do they have any
Ooh,
siblings?
that's a good question. Um, One of them was out of an older cow, so she has siblings, but I think the other two were out of heifers, so they don't have any other siblings yet.
Okay. But it sounds like in time they might, as if their mom has another calf.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
Stacy is asking why cows need to stay in a pen when they're young.
So they stay in a pen so that we have a good idea of what they look like on an average daily basis, and that way they're closer. These pens aren't super big. We can come in here, kind of oversee the whole pen as we walk through the barn, make sure everyone looks happy and healthy. If they were out on a pasture, it would be much harder to do. That way we can keep a good eye on them.
Yeah, that's great. So it helps. And then you can catch if if any of them are sick and you need to help them. It sounds like then you can keep a close eye on taking care of them.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about their teeth? Michelle is asking, and quite a few others, if it hurts when they nibble on your hands. Is there any fun facts to know about cows or calves' teeth?
They only have bottom teeth, when they are born. Eventually, they get some other teeth in there, but right now they just got their bottom ones. So if you stick your hand in there, you might notice a bottom tooth, but their top's just all gum.
So it sounds like to answer their question, it's pretty gentle when they nibble on your
Yeah.
hands. Um, and so then we do have a few questions about the milking process when they get bigger and join the milking herd. So you answered a little bit about the robots, but how much milk does a cow make in a day? Do you know?
So on our farm, we are currently averaging about 103 pounds of milk per cow per day. So that could be made up between anywhere from 2 to 5 milkings a day. Depends how often that cow goes into the robot.
Wow, that's a lot of milk that go into some
Yes.
of our favorite products. And we can't see the barn right now, obviously, with
Mhm.
the bigger cows, but they're asking if on this farm if the calves and the cows are on the same farm.
So right now we are on the same property as the robots. We have like I said, we have a tie stall barn as well, and that's where these guys are actually supposed to be behind the tie stall barn in what we call our yearling barn. And that's just basically across the street. So they're not too far away from each other.
So they're relatively close.
Yeah.
Um, okay. We do have some questions coming in about the lifespan of a cow and like do you know what the oldest cow that they have here is?
I do. Our oldest cow is about 7 years and 8 months right now. Her number is 4575. So as a calf's born, they all get an additional higher number. So you can tell she's pretty old compared to these guys. There's been a lot of calves in between there.
Yeah. Well, and that makes you have a 600, 700 cows in your herd. That's a lot of numbers on
Yeah.
those ear tags. Um, Somebody asked how much water cows drink.
So fun fact there is cows drink about a bathtub of water every day. Um, it's a good bit.
Oh, and this is a good one. Back to the teeth really quick. Someone, do they ever get their top teeth?
No, they do not.
So yeah, fun fact, cows just have their bottom teeth. Um, okay, all great questions. Oh, back the milking process, since we're kind of on the topic of the cows, where do you on the farm, where do you guys store the milk? So if they're getting milked every day, what happens to that milk then and where is it stored before it eventually gets to the grocery store and all of that?
Yeah, so since our cows are milked basically 24/7, we have actually two milk tanks. Um, the one main milk tank, and that's where all the milk goes. Um, and then that gets picked up every other day by the milk truck. Comes around 6 o'clock in the morning, empties that milk tank, and then while that milk tank gets washed in between um, its fillings, the what we have a smaller milk tank as well, and that one holds the milk while the robots continue to milk until the big one is clean.
Awesome. That's really, really interesting. And Nicole has a great question. How many stomachs do cows have?
Cows have one stomach with four compartments. Each compartment does something a little different.
And is that, from what I've heard, is that kind of how cows can digest some of those unique ingredients we talked about in their feed?
Yes, yes, that is.
Yeah, so four compartments in their stomach, really cool. And we did have someone ask, and I thought you'd be a great person to give perspective on this. If you
Mhm.
wanted to work in a job on a farm with animals, what kind of things should you study in college to maybe be able to get a job like that?
So I actually went to Penn State and I have a major in animal science, with a business focus. So I actually did the on-farm internship that the Center for Dairy Excellence offers, and that's how I ended up here. I worked on a farm in high school and throughout some of my college until I had to go up to state college to finish out my schooling. So I had a lot of farming background, as well as going to school for animal science.
Yeah, so you got a lot of hands-on experience on different farms, and a few people are asking about the milking process. Is it easy or hard to milk cows? And I know you guys have robots here, but since you've worked on other farms with different types of milking systems, what is it like to milk a cow?
It's really not that hard. I prefer a parlor setup better than I do a tie stall setup if I have to actually milk a cow. Parlor, the cows are kind of up at your level. You just kind of do your thing. Tie stall, there's a lot of up and down movement. And then obviously with the robots, you don't really have to do too much with them. Sometimes you have to go in there and kind of give the robot a little bit of direction, if the cow moves around too much or something like that. Otherwise, they kind of, like I said, just do their thing. I just have to move some cows every now and again.
Well, thank you so much, Paige, that you've answered so many great questions. I'm trying to make sure we're getting to as many as we can. I do have one more question for you as we get close to wrapping up today. What is your why? Why do you do this every day? It's hard work, but sounds like really rewarding work too. What gets you up every morning to do this every day?
Kind of, I'd want to say the same thing as to what I enjoy most is just being able to watch them grow from the second they're born, as they're being born, helping them be born, and then just kind of raising them up to be the healthy, happy cows that they are, and making sure we can do everything to maintain that. There's always different little things that you can find to improve, and that's exciting to me. Trying different things and then implementing it and seeing the response and how well they do with different things.
Yeah. So, the reward of getting to watch them grow and take care of them, it sounds like that's a big part of it. So
Yep.
thank you so much, Paige, for sharing that with us. And someone, just Chris or Nina made me think of one last thing I wanted to ask. They asked if Kurtland Farms is going to have a summer open house on the farm. Um, is there anything you want to mention about that?
Yes, we are getting that announcement sent out very shortly. So keep your eyes open for an email. We have that pretty well planned. So yeah, that announcement will be out soon.
Sounds good. So keep your eye on your email for more information about that. But thank you so much, Paige, for being such a great host farmer, a great member of the community, and just having so much fun with this program throughout the year. Before we tune off, is there anything else that you'd like to share with everyone or show us about these girls quick before we say goodbye?
I don't think so. Just want to say thanks for having us. I was really excited to be able to be a host farmer this year. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. And yeah, I'm glad you guys got to see the calves again.
Yeah, and everyone is saying thank you, Paige. So thank you so much for joining the call, answering everybody's questions, sharing your knowledge, and don't forget to sign up for next year's program if you're already enrolled. It's as simple as re-enrolling within your account. It opens on May 1st, and then you'll be able to do that. So thank you, everybody, and we hope that we will see you next year.